In a quiet little town in Texas, where green fields stretched far and wide and the air smelled of rain-soaked soil, a hard-working man named Robert Miller lived a humble life with his two children, Ethan and Lily. Robert had once dreamed of becoming a professor, but life had other plans. His mother fell ill when he was in college, and he dropped everything to care for her. After her death, he never returned to school. He became a janitor and raised his children with a strong sense of dignity, compassion, and pride in honest work. Every night before bed, he would tell Ethan, "Son, never laugh at someone's poverty. Respect isn't in clothes or money, it's in character." One gray evening, Robert was returning from work when he clutched his chest and collapsed. Ethan ran to him, screaming for help, but by the time they reached the hospital, Robert had passed away from a heart attack. At the funeral, Ethan stood silent, tears rolling down his face. When he threw the first handful of dirt onto his father's grave, he made a silent vow. "I'll raise Lily into a woman Dad would be proud of. Even if I have to give up every dream of my own." From that day on, 17-year-old Ethan dropped out of school and took a janitor's job, ironically, at the same school he once attended. Every day at dawn, he cleaned classrooms, restrooms, the cafeteria, anything to pay Lily's school fees. Most students ignored him, but some mocked him. One in particular stood out, Jackson Pierce, the arrogant son of a wealthy businessman. Jackson never missed a chance to humiliate Ethan. One day, he sneered. "How long will you keep sending your sister to school? One day she'll be mopping floors just like you." Ethan didn't respond. He just kept sweeping. But inside, his silence screamed with pride. During a science fair set up at school, wires and water pipes ran across the classroom. In a careless moment, a live wire fell into a puddle of water. Students screamed and ran, everyone except Ryan, Jackson's younger cousin, who stepped back into the water to retrieve his project. Suddenly, Ryan collapsed, electrocuted and unconscious. Panic broke out. But before anyone could act, Ethan sprinted forward. Using the wooden handle of his broom, he pulled Ryan out of the water and began CPR, something he had learned from a video he'd seen on a clinic wall one night while cleaning. After several tense moments, Ryan gasped. The whole school stared in stunned silence. The principal rushed over, tears in his eyes. "This janitor isn't just a cleaner, he's a hero." The story spread like wildfire. Local news picked it up. Donations came in. A scholarship foundation reached out. One morning, Jackson's wealthy father arrived at Ethan's doorstep with tears in his eyes. "Son, you saved my nephew's life. I'm ashamed of the way my son treated you. Please forgive us." But Jackson wasn't ready to change. Weeks later, Lily came home shaken, saying Jackson had blocked her way and tried to humiliate her again behind the school building. Ethan's patience snapped. He stormed into the school hallway the next day, looked Jackson in the eye, and said in front of everyone, "You may have money, cars, and a big name. But I have something else, honor. And if I have to sacrifice everything to protect my sister's honor, I will. Even my life." This time, students didn't stay silent. They stood behind Ethan. Jackson was expelled from the school and later sent out of state by his father. Months later, the town hosted an award ceremony. Ethan received a gold-plated shield for his courage and sacrifice. "Ethan Miller," the principal announced, "the boy who gave up everything to raise his sister and saved lives in the process." Inspired by his story, a group of donors came together to build a school for underprivileged children. They named it Robert Miller Honor Academy. At the inauguration, Lily stood proudly and said, "This school is the result of my brother's sacrifice, my father's dream, and our family's dignity." Epilogue. Ethan never went to college himself. But he sent hundreds of children there through the school he helped build. His life became a symbol that character and sacrifice mean more than wealth ever will. Money isolated Jackson. Sacrifice made Ethan immortal. In a world that often measures success in wealth, status, and luxury, Ethan's story reminds us that true greatness lies in sacrifice, integrity, and the courage to stand tall even when life tries to break you. He didn't wear a suit, he didn't own a car, and he never walked into a boardroom, but he walked into people's hearts with his selflessness, dignity, and unwavering love for his family. Ethan could have chosen anger. He could have given up when the world mocked him, when classmates ridiculed him, or when fate took his father away. But instead, he chose compassion. He chose to clean floors so his sister could walk on a red carpet of education. He chose to save a life when others chose fear. He chose to stay silent in the face of humiliation, not because he was weak, but because his strength came from something deeper, his honor. Let this story remind us all that real heroes don't always wear capes, they wear worn-out shoes, carry tired eyes, and sweep silently through life, leaving behind trails of kindness. They may not be celebrated on magazine covers, but they live in the warm memories of every life they've touched. So the next time you see someone who seems invisible, a janitor, a cleaner, a bus driver, remember Ethan. Because behind every humble uniform, there may be a heart brave enough to sacrifice everything, and strong enough to change the world.